It's time to take a TO with coaches Turner and O'Neill. Produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by DJ Krissy.
It's time to take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Your new favorite podcast features conversation from the world of high school, college, and pro sports, along with other riveting content. Connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast and on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, or visit www.turnerando'neill.com. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, and more than 15 podcast platforms. We also invite you into the studio each week via YouTube. Subscribe and watch each episode on our YouTube channel at Turner O'Neill Podcast. Thanks to our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development, LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, and Peace Players International. And our donors, Winsight Media, Gene the Barber, Body and Beyond Wellness, and Justin O'Neill. Take a TO with Coach Turner and O'Neill is produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by me, DJ Krissy. Now we welcome you to today's episode as we take a TO with coaches Steve Turner and Casey O'Neill. Here's your host, Kurtis Cross.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 18 of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. I am Kurtis Cross, your host. With me, as always, is Coach Steve Turner. Coach Casey O'Neill, our engineer, is DJ Krissy, and together we welcome you into the studio for this week's episode. Our premier partner for Season 2 is Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Ray is a friend of the program. He is the only mortgage lender we endorse right here at Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Ray Cruz is mortgage intelligently. We'd like to thank our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, the Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. This week, the crew is back. Coach Turner got a little R&R in sunny Miami. Coach O'Neill was and is in the lacrosse trenches, but we are all in the studio today. This is episode 18. A couple things I do want to say. Ray Cruz is mortgage intelligently. We are refinancing currently with Ray Cruz. He will open up the portal, tell you what you need. You submit your documents. He'll tell you he needs some more, and you will get it underway. We are currently refinancing with Ray Cruz. We're going to get into this podcast, but first, gentlemen, I'll start with you because he was in sunny Miami last week, but tell me about your week, sir.
He looks tan.
Right?
You're peeling a little bit on the top.
Somebody got burned?
Top of the head. A little bit. I'm good. What has not happened in the last week?
For all of us, I think, but you first.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, games canceled, games moved, practices rescheduled. Just a lot to cover. But first and foremost, a belated Happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful moms in our life and all over the world. Women are strong. Women are awesome. And we had a good Mother's Day weekend. Saw my father-in-law for the first time in 2 years.
All
Erica's
right.
father,
All
because
right.
he's way out in California.
Okay.
What's that?
Nah, you go ahead and tell. You tell.
No. Yep, that's where I was going there. So I hadn't seen him in close to 2 years because of the pandemic, and it's tough for him to get back out here.
Right.
Anyway, Mrs. O'Neill, on her Mother's Day weekend, had a surprise for not only him, but me.
Uh-oh.
She had arranged for a surprise to have a young sophomore Clemson Tiger come back for the weekend to see his grandfather, who he hasn't seen in 2 years. And they went to the airport. She had told him he was going to Arlington National Cemetery. And he said, honey, you just passed the exit. And then they went to Reagan and said, doesn't that look like your grandson? He comes out of the airport. She saw him. And then they come down to school and say, can you come out? And I said, hey, that's fine. Having a rough day. Boom. My man's in the back of the car. So we got to spend a great weekend.
Good for you.
With everybody. And that's what she needed for Mother's Day. She wanted that. So happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Happy Mother's Day.
We're back at it on
Is there
the field.
anything better than family?
Nothing.
No.
How did that make you feel?
Isn't. It made me feel great. I rarely get surprised, especially by my wife. And for her to do that on Mother's Day weekend, right, that Friday, to have him come back, because they're going to nationals. He's heading to Texas. Clemson's in the Final Eight.
Okay.
And they're going this week. But they had the weekend off, and she arranged it. And damn it, Krissy, I should have been the one flying him home, you know?
Coach was jacked.
I was fired up. We had a great time. So, a lot going on, lot to talk about, but here we are with the crew. Monday night, baby.
You know what that reminds me of? One of your friends, I think it was Carlos. Didn't he flip the script? it was his girlfriend at the time's birthday, right?
I don't know what we're talking about.
Didn't he propose? He flipped the script on her? It was like her birthday or something. No, it was his birthday or something.
Oh, and
she took him out to dinner, and he said, I know this is all about me, but he flipped it, remember?
I think so.
Was that Carlos?
I'm going to lie if I guess.
I think it was Carlos, and he flipped it on her at his birthday. He turned it around on his then fiance and asked her to marry him. And that's what it was Mother's Day, but she flipped it on you, right?
It completely flipped it, and we had a great weekend, and to be able to see the grandparents and everybody and it be under the same roof was very special. So the power of that love. So happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful, wonderful moms.
Coach Turner, you were in Miami. Tell us about your week other than that. Or is that all there is to it?
Nah, Miami was great. It's good to get a little R&R, a little refresher, get yourself, good way to get steam rolling as we finish out the school year.
Right.
A couple more weeks here before the guys go into exams, and I needed it. Okay. For all this time we've been stuck in the DMV because of this pandemic. So it was definitely worthwhile, and always good to do it with my best friends down there in sunny Florida. No rain at all, not a drop.
Question for you. Do you ever get in the car down there, whether you're renting or someone picks you up? Do you ever play the Will Smith song in Miami? Where do you go?
I've never had. Never had thrown it on. But I've heard it down there.
Okay.
Definitely have heard it down there.
Yeah.
But never have thrown it on. Actually, I think I'll tell you one time I did hear it. Sitting outside at shouldn't be telling all this, but sitting outside at Wet Willie's.
Okay.
And this tricked out vehicle has got it blasting.
Of course.
Going down South Beach. So yes, definitely have heard it. Definitely have heard it there. But never kicked it on myself.
Yeah. Is a certain junior Purple Eagle, is he ready for exams?
He's definitely ready. He is honestly, he's kicking ass.
His grades have been.
He is kicking ass. He's in the midst of a run to finish this last quarter with straight A's, and he's fighting for it. So I'm hoping he can pull it off. It certainly will look good to some of these schools who are in the midst of recruiting him that maybe haven't pulled the trigger. I think this is something that can help get him over that hump of getting a few more offers on the table that I think he'd like to see.
No one in this room is going to be mad with straight A's, I can tell you that.
Nah, not at all. And then the weekend was great. Great finish out with, Mother's Day weekend, and kept it real simple. I was told to do nothing, but I could.
You can't.
I just
That's
can't
not you.
Not me. But I went and got crabs.
Ooh.
So I'm throwing a plug.
Please.
JC's Crab House, the
Okay,
place
you
I
told me about. Yeah, you did.
Their crabs this weekend. I'm telling you right now, the best set of crabs I've had in the last 3 years. They were fat, plump, juicy, full of meat, no watered down. Like there was not one bad crab on the table.
Good mustard in them. Good yellow mustard.
Good yellow mustard.
Got to order ahead.
I like go right in.
Got to order ahead.
No, I walked right in. Got them. Boom.
Okay.
Got some crabs. Got some shrimp. And Jared likes snow crab legs, so got him some snow crab legs, and we just
give them some love. Where are they?
Munched out. They are Colesville Shopping Center, New Hampshire, and Randolph Road.
Randolph, yeah, right there.
You know my place.
The Giant Shopping Center?
And Giant Shopping Center.
Yeah, okay.
They always have good seafood.
You know where I go, right?
Where you go?
Rough and
Ready. Rough and Ready's always been.
No, where's that?
Chillin',
on the
baby.
corner of Riggs and Chillum Road.
Chillum Road.
Okay, all right.
And it is.
That used to be the spot my grandmother used to always send me to get her crabs.
I love me some Rough and Ready.
Well, listen, let me tell you guys, if you need some crabs, you just got 2 good plugs. Don't say you couldn't find them. I would advise you to call in advance, but at least last weekend you could walk right in, right?
On the Mother's Day, I was surprised to be able to walk
okay.
in. And the people were coming in and out. So for them to have and they had all sizes in abundance up to super jumbos.
Okay. Before I get to my stuff, DJ Krissy, there's a big red bow in that kitchen.
There is.
Right? Talk to us.
Got a new refrigerator.
Yeah.
Ooh. Kind of excited about
Notice
that. So much more space.
Good for you.
So much more space. So it has the refrigerator on top instead of, the old school with the freezer on the top. So it's so much easier.
Freezers pull out the bottom?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's got an ice maker.
Oh, you couple settings? Crushed ice, regular ice?
No, just regular ice. But it's a step up, and I'm pretty excited about it. The good story, though, is how the old one and the new one got in and out. That's the story.
Tell them real quick.
So they don't fit through the doorways?
Nope.
In the house?
Nope.
So instead of going through any of the doorways, it had to go through the window.
Yep. The guys delivered it, and they had to deliver it through the window. And then when it was time for us to get rid of the old one, they didn't take it. We wanted to sell it, right? She took the door off. It wouldn't fit. So we had to leverage it over that window and take it right where you're looking, right through there. Not this one, but the far one. Yeah.
So it fits through the front door.
Yes.
But that's the only door it fits through. So it had to go through the see-through space between the living room and the kitchen.
Wow.
That window.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
fun.
Okay.
That's the way it worked.
Hey, whatever works.
But ain't it worth it?
We got the new fridge.
We do, and
The new
it's in
fridge is
there.
here.
Any? Well, we haven't seen you. I haven't seen you live for a minute.
No, you haven't.
Any hikes? Any new ventures?
No new adventures recently. I've been busy. Things have kind of kicked off, and things have opened up and all that good stuff.
So we're spinning music.
Oh my
again.
gosh.
I love it.
Yeah, we are.
Getting back into it.
Well, I guess I better get a little Hoops Mania on the calendar before we get
You
locked
better,
out.
because I just this week I booked 2 gigs for October of 22 next year already. One is taking us over 1,000 miles away to Wisconsin. Just booked that over the weekend.
Oh wow!
Got a wedding out there October 8th of 2022. I want to echo what you said. Happy Mother's Day.
Yep.
We had, before we get too much into this segment, we just decided at the last minute we're going to go to brunch. The brunch spot that we've always gone to, they have been closed since COVID. They don't open until 5 p.m. It's one of the Marriotts. So then we go to Pachi's. Pachi's. We call and they say, yeah, we're doing brunch. We're doing a buffet. We'll serve it to you, blah, blah, blah. So we go up there. My mom meets us up there. I texted Krissy, see if she wanted to go. She was sleeping. Cool, whatever. We go up there. 40 minutes before they open, Paula calls and she makes a reservation. I'm like, why are you taking a reservation 40 minutes in advance? You're supposed to do it several days in advance. She goes up. They open the doors early. We go in. Her name's the only one on the reservation list. Why did they ask her to make a reservation? And she said, that's my name right there. She's the only one on the sheet. So we had a good brunch. My mom was with us. My mom went out of town today. Got Paula a whole bunch of stuff that she appreciated. Her mom flew into town yesterday, so you'll see her come through that door any minute now. So that's what we did for Mother's Day, and we enjoyed it. Awesome. That was it. And then we got some Royal Farms chicken for dinner.
And then did I see? Did I see you this morning? Jamming to a little
NWA as we left Landon's campus. Yes, with the cop right there. Yes, we were rocking NWA as we exited Landon's campus, and the cop was right there. Oh, whatever, because the boys in the hood. That's what we were playing. We were.
And then, my last thing,
please,
Jared, fully vaccinated, second shot done this morning.
All right, okay. All right. Excellent stuff. I do have something to announce. Tomorrow, I'm going to go down to a WCAC school, and I'm calling St. John's Gonzaga baseball tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Krissy's called the first 2 games. The first one was a 40,000 inning tie game that she called between, it was not Riken, was it? Who was it you called? It wasn't Gilman. It might have been, no, wasn't Paul the, I don't know. It was
Paul the Sixth was this last weekend.
And they went Paul the Sixth.
Saturday.
Did you go out to Paul the Sixth, or was it was all at St. John's?
All at St. John's. Yeah, but then I've got St. John's Gonzaga tomorrow. St. Albans, is that who it was?
I think that was the first one.
All right, and our big news is Paul and I decided yesterday we're getting an estimate tomorrow. We're going to go with a new deck. We're going to rip up the deck, and small chance we'll go concrete. Bigger chance we'll go regular wood, but we're going to look at composite now.
Go Trex.
Trex.
That's what we're doing.
Trex. I'm telling you.
Are you helping to underwrite this? Because it's going to be twice as much. The materials for Trex.
But it is worth it.
I understand. I've seen a million Trex decks. We love wood as well. Trex is in the lead, but right now the materials are going to cost us almost $5,000 for Trex.
Well, hopefully Trex isn't, taking the steroids like what we're about to talk about.
Oh, boy. If you missed last week's episode 17, Joe Robertson with Duke University Lacrosse joined us for a look at his years at Duke and what will be his 5th year as he plans on coming back to take to the field again for the Blue Devils in 2022. Go back and listen to or watch Mr. Clutch, episode 17, on your favorite podcast platform or YouTube. Let's hit our first break, and we'll be back with this week's headline. Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill would like to thank our friends of the program: Shane Benson, Todd Bradley, Paula Cross, Susan and Brendan O'Neill Sr., Daniel Richard, Noah Richard, Andrea Terrones. If you would like to become a friend of the program, go to www.turnerando'neill.com and click Become a Friend.
Let's get social. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter.
Connect with us on Instagram and Facebook at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, and on YouTube. Search Turner and O'Neill and then click subscribe. Since 1939, the Collins family has served families of Montgomery County and Greater Washington with dignified professional service in their time of need. We continue the same family tradition today at our funeral home located just off the Beltway in Silver Spring, Maryland. Our family of experienced funeral directors stand ready to assist you around the clock, 365 days a year. Whether you wish to pre-plan or you have experienced a loss, please contact us to discuss how we can assist you at your time of need. Call 301-593-9500 or visit collinsfuneralhome.com.
Winsight Media. Winsight delivers connections and intelligence to four of the fastest growing verticals: convenience retailing, grocery businesses, restaurants, and non-commercial food service through broad and cutting-edge platforms. No company is better positioned to meet the food industry's needs than Winsight. Connect with us at www.winsightmedia.com. One Headline is brought to you by Healthy Baller is dedicated to developing athletes at any level through customized programs created by their world-class trainers. Healthy Baller creates an unparalleled training experience centered around the athlete and coach relationship. Between their physical therapy team and strength and conditioning staff, they create an all-encompassing process to help injured athletes return to the field. For the young athlete, Healthy Baller is an excellent training and confidence builder. Paula and I personally know this as our children attend Healthy Baller twice each week. With Blair and Molly training our 12 and 10-year-olds, we can personally vouch for their expert training and dedication to each athlete. Call 844-622-5537 or visit healthyballer.com and tell them Kurtis and Paula sent you.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take It to You with Turner and O'Neill.
Welcome back to Take It to You with Turner and O'Neill. Today's episode is brought to you by Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. This week's headline: Medina Spirit, the Kentucky Derby winning horse, had elevated levels of beta-methazone, a pain management drug. Pending a second drug test, the results of the Kentucky Derby are now on hold, and Medina Spirit's trainer Bob Baffert is now suspended. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
I mean, come on.
It's a pain management drug?
Come on. What world are we in right now? We're doping seeing
horses.
Blue skies from Corona and the pandemic and coming out of all sorts of crazy, you know what, from just the world of politics and people. And now we're talking about drugged horses.
Doping horses.
That's the headline. What world am I in? I honestly don't have many thoughts, but look, Bob Baffert has been there time and time again.
I wonder why.
So that's what you're saying, is that
you saying you wonder why, but he's won enough times that
to know better.
Well, not just to know better, but if he had, I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Okay.
So he's won enough times.
Mm-hmm.
They've had to test the same way that they tested this horse.
Okay.
No issue, 6 times.
Okay.
And now you do it this time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that even if he did it this time that he's been doing it.
Okay.
Because I think they would have caught him.
I think he wins,
but I
feel like every time, and I'm not a big. I love the Derby, love the Preakness. Belmont Stakes is cool. I mean, kind of just builds up to like the longest race and go into the Belmont. But come on.
But I will say
come
this:
on.
Ain't a damn thing going on in this world that's going to surprise me anymore.
Right?
Shit comes out, it just comes out.
It's ridiculous.
Here's the thought, and Paula had what I think should be the headline that they're not going to talk about. What if the horse was doped? They elevate everyone. So 2 goes to 1, 3 goes to 2, the 4th horse goes to 3. Ain't nobody getting their money back. They're not doing anything about the money.
Well, no, they said that though. They said that you were going to still win your money even if it came out, right? They're like, you don't.
No. The 4th horse will now be the 3rd horse, and if you bet on the 4th horse, you're not getting paid for win, place, or show.
Correct.
That sucks.
And
whoever won first, who shouldn't have won, they're keeping that money. You're not tracking down the people, but it just throws all the bets off. And there's someone who, like the dude, you saw the meme, right? The dude was at a wedding, and he was looking at his phone, and his horse won. He's like, He's like so excited because he can't scream during this wedding. He shouldn't have won because he bet on Medina Spirit. Wow. It's just interesting how all that money the money's not going to shift.
It's not going to shift.
But if you were in second, you should have won first place money.
Correct.
That's all I got to say about that. It's horse racing. I love horse racing. These thoroughbreds are just awesome to look at. They're strong, graceful animals. And have you ever been to a live horse race?
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to work the Preakness.
Ridiculous.
I worked the Preakness.
Have you been up on the rail when they go by?
In the infield. Yeah.
That's
a different type of work.
So way different type of work.
But if you ever get a chance to go to a horse race, just go to any casino that has a horse race or horse track. And they don't have to be the pros, but just take a look. And when they come past you, you will know and feel every yard that they pass you on. It's something to watch. For me, it's like NASCAR in terms of it's just a different sensation live than it is, on TV.
Agreed.
Who was the sharpest dressed?
With the Preakness?
Yeah.
Wasn't me.
Badford, probably.
No, I'm talking about this year's.
Oh, well, Badford's always cool because he has the white collar with the blue shirt. He always does it right with the yellow golden tie. He always does it right. Who you got?
Touchdown Tom was pretty sharp, man.
Oh, was he there? I don't even know he was there.
Brady was there, and I think the other guy we'll probably talk about somewhere on this show again is our Green Bay man.
Oh, he was there as well?
He was there as well.
Aaron Rodgers.
He was there.
Okay.
Those guys were all looking sharp.
Good deal, good deal. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your one headline.
Gene the Barber has been in the business of making you look good for more than 20 years. Kids cuts, adult cuts, men and women, Gene has the experience and style you're looking for. Contact Gene the Barber for an appointment by calling him direct, 240-687-7253. Our producer uses Gene the Barber and he's available for your next barbershop visit as well. Call 240-687-7253 and tell him Turner and O'Neill sent you.
A Squared Home and Office Solutions is the go-to source for home or office network and audiovisual solutions. We can help with smart home integration, wireless networking, media rooms, security systems, and more. We will link technology to your style seamlessly. Visit homeandofficesolutions.com for more info.
Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill can be found on more than 15 podcast platforms. Listen to us on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. Tune in on your preferred podcast platform. Be sure to listen, subscribe, and spread the word. Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill records weekly with episode drops each Thursday at 11 a.m.
The Starting Five is brought to you by...
From Washington, D.C. to Ocean City, Woodbridge to Columbia, Richmond to Virginia Beach, the hottest DJs are right here. The Mid-Atlantic Professional DJ Association.
Current social distancing does not allow for event gatherings in the traditional sense. When it's time to plan your bar or bat mitzvah, office party, Sweet 16, or any event, we've got your party solution. Dynamic DJ Entertainment is your virtual event experts. Our virtual events division has perfected an entertainment experience like none other. We bring the celebration to you. Contact us for virtual trivia, office parties, nightclub nights, or any virtual event. Dynamic DJ Entertainment is your virtual event solution. Visit www.mapdja.com or call 301-942-4500.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. The Starting Five. Welcome back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. I'm your host, Kurtis Cross, and I'm with Coach Steve Turner, Coach Casey O'Neill, and of course our engineer is DJ Krissy. We are up to our weekly Starting Five. 5 questions asked of each coach. They've never heard these questions, and they each have 30 seconds to answer these questions. They can defer one question per Starting Five. If they go over their 30 seconds, DJ Krissy, what will happen? All right, gentlemen, let's do it. Let's start with Coach Turner back from Miami. Aside from the necessities, what is one thing you could not go a day without? And of course, families included, air, food, water, all that. But besides those necessities, one thing you cannot go without.
So you're saying like family's just the norm. You don't.
Yeah, of course, you can't go without them.
Man, my cell phone.
Your cell phone. Okay. Ooh. All right. What about you, Coach O'Neal?
That's a good one. Unfortunately.
It's unfortunate, but that is the case.
Right.
Yeah. At start of the day, nice cup of coffee.
That's your thing.
And it gets me going.
Do you have one of those stay warm cups?
I do, but okay. I need it. I sit there and do a little reading.
You know, these guys get the courage.
No, we don't. Where, in the office?
Yeah.
I used to.
Oh, you don't have it anymore?
Well, pandemic, that thing sat there and got a little funky, so I was like, I ain't doing it.
Well, I'm sure there'll be a new
little coffee. There'll be a new one
coming back.
Got to start the day with that coffee, man.
Coming back to you, what song always gets you out on the dance floor?
Ooh. What song?
That's a Paula question. She wrote that one.
Oh, man. I gotta think about this one for a second.
All right.
I'll defer right
Defer,
now.
Sir.
Shit, anything Biggie.
All right, anything Biggie. Hypnotize, 10 Crack Commandments, Juicy.
I'll go. You know the one that's going to get me out there.
I've seen it before. Not everyone has seen it.
So we'll change that. Biggie's probably just the norm, but
right.
Percolator.
You haven't lived.
I've seen you do that.
You haven't lived till you've seen him do the percolator. All right, so it's coming back your way.
I'm drawing a blank right now, but anything by the King of Pop, Michael Jackson.
Okay, all right, that'll work.
And Beat It's usually my jam.
There you go.
All right. I don't know if I know the answer for you, but this will be your question. When I wrote this, I said I'm going to know his answer, of course, but how did you meet Leah?
I want to say it was in band class, Eastern Middle School.
All right. How did you meet Erica?
I was coming back from an airport, coming back from a trip on an airport. A friend of hers who I knew, I'd asked if she could come pick me up from the airport,
right.
And her friend Erica was driving the car. So met her there and said, "Whoa, who's that?"
All right, coming back to you. If you had a warning label, what would your warning label say? Mess with the bull, get the horns?
It might be. Attention deficit at times. Just stick with them.
All right. Your warning label, sir. Make it safe for podcast airplay.
No. It'd be probably don't mistake my kindness for a weakness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, it'd be don't being a Gemini. Don't let the other twin out.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I like it. All right. You know what we're doing. Each of you get 5 things, 5 different things, and let's see what your responses are. I'm going to start with Coach O'Neal. Snooze button or wake up immediately?
Snooze.
Really? I got that wrong. I guessed wake up immediately.
Unfortunately.
Fritos or Doritos?
And I'm going to go back. It depends if it's game day. Game day, I'm up.
Okay.
If it's or practice, I'm up. But any other time, it's snooze. Go ahead.
Fritos or Doritos?
Oh, Doritos.
Which ones?
Cool Ranch.
Gotta have the blue chips. I call them the blue chips.
To. The girls do too.
Yes, our kids do too. Darts or pool?
Oh, man. I'm pretty baller at both, but I'm going to go with pool.
All right. Change your major in college. What would it be?
I would change it to some type of business management.
All right. Life without Wi-Fi, Amazon, or a cell phone?
Amazon.
All right. Coach Turner, honesty or consider someone's feelings? So you're going to give them the brutal truth, or you're going to sugarcoat a little bit because you don't want to hurt their feelings? It depends on who it is, probably.
It definitely depends on who it is.
A parent who's complaining about playing time.
The problem is I probably sugarcoat a little bit, sometimes too much. Probably need to be a little more transparent with that situation.
Okay.
But I think about people's feelings all the time, so I probably would sugarcoat it. But there's definitely some times where I'm pretty brutal.
I forgot to say this during our opening, by the way. I know it might get old to our listeners. We are so happy to see this young man, Jared, grow up. It makes me happy every time you talk about how proud.
It's happening too damn fast for me.
Yeah.
It's killing me.
I mean, just his progress, his success, you know?
Thank you. I
yes,
appreciate
absolutely. That. Pick your NBA duo. I put them together. Embiid and Giannis or Luka and the Joker?
I'm going with Luka and the Joker.
All right. So you have to pick no washer or dryer in the house or no shower head. You got to take baths only. So baths only or no washer and dryer in the house. Which one would you pick?
wash and dry can go.
Okay, all right.
I'll go down. I'll go down the street and drop it off. I'll go to the mat. Not lose my shower head.
All right. Crosswords, Sudoku, or word search?
Ooh.
I'm crosswords all the way.
Word search.
All right. Express lanes with double the tolls or sit in traffic?
Give me them double tolls.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is your starting five. The starting five.
Connect with us socially on Instagram and Facebook at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, on YouTube, just search Turner and O'Neill, then subscribe. And of course, you can visit our website at www.turnerando'neill.com.
Be sure to listen now at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Buzzsprout, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, or Google Podcasts. Download the app and subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill.
Next Level Lacrosse. Train like a Spartan. Next Level Lacrosse is dedicated to providing a terrific lacrosse experience that is intensely focused on player development and character formation. Players at all levels will improve significantly through professional coaching and carefully designed training programs. We stress proper technique and a tireless work ethic. From beginning programs to rec leagues, travel clubs to summer programs, we develop the young and experienced players alike. Next Level Lacrosse has a rich tradition of running the best middle and high school lacrosse leagues in the DMV area. You'll find us at www.nextlevelspartans.com or call 240-497-1460.
This segment of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by
Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. With a stellar reputation as an outstanding mortgage lender, Ray Cruz serves the lending needs of real estate professionals, builders, and individual home buyers in Maryland, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Texas, California, Florida, Illinois, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Ray believes that integrity is the cornerstone of his business, and helping you achieve your home financing goals is his business. Located in the heart of Bethesda, Maryland, contact Ray P. Cruz today to get started. Your home mortgage or refinance options await. Call 301-761-2278 or visit raypcruz.com. Ray P. Cruz, mortgages intelligently.
portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Ladies and gentlemen, today's guest is currently the head coach of the Greenville Triumph Soccer Club in the USL League One. His resume includes being the first American to ever play in the English Premier League. He won 2 MLS Cup titles with DC United, and he appeared in 2 FIFA World Cup tournaments. The list does go on, notably as a member of the National Soccer Hall of Fame. We are thrilled that he is going to join us now. So ladies and gentlemen, taking the TO with us today, please welcome Mr. John Harkes.
Hey, guys.
Mr. Harkes, how are you, sir? We are fine.
I can't believe you finally let me on. I've been asking to get on for months, and you won't let me get on.
Exactly.
Finally getting on.
I told Casey, I said, when is Harkes coming on? He said, oh, you know what? He's small time. We'll get him in when we get a chance.
Oh, please.
And I said, come on, bring Harkes on.
Hey, listen, I
put him on the bottom of the page, right?
I finally had to go to Scott Waller, who's Gonzaga's soccer coach and coached John's son, Ian, who's an incredible soccer player as well. I said, Scott, can you just get in touch with John, please? I got to get this guy on the podcast. But, John, it's great to hear from you. Thanks for doing this.
John.
My pleasure, man. And certainly, we won't discuss Scott too much tonight, but he does owe me quite a bit of money. I don't want to keep chasing him up, but that's okay. It's all good though. No, he's a great coach and a great guy. So happy that we can finally connect and get on with you guys. This is great.
I appreciate it.
John, Steve Turner here. Just want to say thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule and joining us tonight.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
Well, Coach Harkes, I don't know you, but I will have to set the record straight. Coach O'Neal has been talking about getting you on the show. He is excited to have you here. Once I had to write this episode and look up your resume, I'm like, where do I begin? Where do I end? I will say publicly in front of all of our listeners and viewers, pound for pound, your resume is heavier than anyone's we've had on this show, all of your achievements. So let's get into the conversation. As I look at the league standings, there are the Greenville Triumph, your team atop the standings. I look at last year's standings, and once again, the Triumph are atop the standings. We know about your success as a player, but for some, coaching successfully is different. How are you able to transition so successfully from the field to the coach's box, sir?
It's a good question, Steve. And, I guess there's so many different elements that go into the coaching aspect and the teaching. And it really, when it comes down to education, it's more about having clear lines of communication and checking for understanding on a consistent basis. And, of course, you put your basic principles every single day, which are the core values of like what you stand for. And we all throw that out there quite a bit, but it is building a culture. When you build a culture, I've done that since, day one here. I was very fortunate to, come in here and help this club build from scratch. And over the 2 years, you start to realize that not only building the culture is key, but also protecting it and making sure that, your leadership doesn't switch off. It's about consistency on a day-to-day basis. And you guys know that, you know what I'm talking about. And, even when it comes to coaching, it's more about it's not just soccer players. It's not just, football players, not but baseball, American basketball, whatever it may be. You're coaching human beings, and you have to have a connection to them to make them want to be better. And some of them, some coaches step back and they go, "Oh, I made this player back in the day." And it's like coaches. For me, coaches don't make players. Players make players. But coaches can guide them. Coaches can give them advice. Coaches can maybe push them a little bit and pull and support them, put their arm around them. But the players are the ones that decide if they have enough ambition, if they have enough drive, if they have enough work ethic to really, put time in to master their skills and compete. And so from my perspective, it's like I'm learning, all the time. And, I'm early in the coaching, ranks. There's so many coaches that have been out there, Scott being one of them, Casey. I mean, guys have been coaching for a long period of time. I coached youth players when I was playing, which was great because I love it and helped our kids play. My wife, Cindy, played, and, she's a great coach in herself. And my dad was a coach. Her dad was a coach. So it's like you kind of got that within the family. But as soon as you remove the ego and you start to understand your purpose as a coach, things become a lot better. It really does. Right. And so I'm very grateful that I, put together this group. My staff has been extremely, helpful. We all work together, and the players are fantastic. It's great when they start to take a little bit of autonomy in that process, and we're seeing a lot of that now as we go into year 3.
John Casey here. So you mentioned that advice and being there for the advice, and we got a lot of young folks that listen to the podcast, whether they're high school kids or younger. What is sort of that advice to, I guess, notably young soccer players in our country today or in our areas? What is the advice that you're giving them about whether it's never give up, keep working, and the things that you would want the youth coaches to pass on to those kids who have dreams of playing professional soccer or college soccer or high school soccer?
Well, I think the number one thing is just, we quite often, coaches, teachers, we're all talking about the growth mindset, as a player, coachable. Are they open to learning? Can they engage in the process? And sometimes it's hard, you got to break down, certain athletes and kind of, connect with them in a certain way to know that you build trust. And when you build trust, and they open up. And I think younger athletes, younger players sometimes have a harder time of letting themselves be open, like be vulnerable. We talk about vulnerability right now, during such a difficult time for everyone, where we've gone through a pandemic, we're still going through it, we're slowly crawling out of it. It looks like there's, light at the end of the tunnel here. We've got also a lot of social injustice going on. And, there's a lot of, I think, vulnerability that kind of helps us communicate a little bit better. And I think if you're a young athlete, the work ethic that you put in, you'll start to see some rewards. I mean, I think sometimes it's as easy as that. We ask, a lot of different players, what do they want to get out of this? Like, what's their goal, short term, long term, and but what do they envision as being like the end game for them? And sometimes it's like, wow, I want to be a pro, and I'm like, okay, it's great. You want to be a pro, but what kind of pro? Like, you want to be a leader? You want to be in the Jesuit leadership, we all talk about, understand the strengths, weaknesses, values, the worldview, how you embrace the changing world, how you engage with others in a positive way. And I'm like trying to do that every day as a coach. And I think that the best thing for the younger kids to do is to say, okay, I want to grasp a hold of that. I want to, commit to it and trust it and, really work at it. And I think sometimes guys have their guards up or not just guys, young athletes, both female and male, have their guards up to protect themselves because they have a fear of failure. And we all do, no matter what, phase of our lives we're in. But if you can actually get them to trust in you and create that safe environment for them where we're a team, everything's a team, it's a family. And I think then if the players come in with that kind of mindset, the sky's the limit, really.
Great answer. Thank you.
Scott, Steve, I'm sorry, I said Scott. John, Steve here. It got me thinking about all that money he owes you. Where do you see U.S. soccer in the next 20 years? And that is it in the MLS and certainly with our U.S. national team?
The future of U.S. soccer is extremely bright. I think what we're seeing now is, a lot of players, not just the female side of it, where they've had tremendous success at the World Cups and the Olympics and the women's national teams and the youth national teams. We're seeing now that the younger players, even on the men's side now, are getting more experiences in their overseas. They're in systems of play. They're in, academies in Germany and in the UK and Scotland and in England and, France and Austria, and they're excelling. They're in Italy. They're excelling. You look at Weston McKennie at Juventus and stuff. And I see soccer now starting to kind of excel and progress in a faster pace. I try to always keep people on the up and up about things and make sure that the awareness, the educational part of the game is really, important, that they understand where we've come from. And when you look back to the women's side of the game in 1991, there with the Women's World Cup, we won it, the final. And, my wife played with players like Mia Hamm at Braddock Road and, and everything, and they've done extremely well. So from our perspective in the game of soccer across the world, the women basically, and not invented the game, but they also, because of the equality that we have here, and they kind of showed the world what we're all about. So the women have actually set the tone and led the way, whereas the men, we're playing catch up. I was trying to explain to somebody, my old club Sheffield Wednesday just got relegated in the English Championship level down to League One. So it's basically the third tier of pro soccer in England now. When I was playing for them, we were in the Premier League at the top. And somebody's asking me, what is that like? That's got to be hard for that club. They'll bounce back up. And I said, look, keep it in perspective. There are so many competitive clubs over there. When I went over 3 years ago for an anniversary to celebrate with the club, it was their 150th anniversary.
Wow.
They were a club that started in 1867. Here we are talking about Major League Soccer this is the 26th year of Major League Soccer after the NASL folded. And now with the USL being so strong and developing not just the championship level, but League One and Division 3 tiers, now we're just in the beginning phases of this. And I see this 10 years from now just taking off like incredibly. you're already seeing the younger players doing so well in both the men and women's programs across the board. And even a lot of our women's players are overseas playing and competing in Manchester United's Man Cities and, the Paris Saint-Germain's in France and so on. So I only see a lot of positivity in our game, and it growing tremendously and having success.
Coach Kurtis here. Look, in your career, we're talking more than 35 years playing, coaching, and managing at a very high level each step of the way. Clearly, this is fun for you, but on what level would you say you've learned the most about your sport?
Wow, what a question.
We're looking at it right now. We're both looking at it pointing. That's a great question.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think you're learning at every level. I don't know if there's one particular level. Although I will say, though, the more that I coach, the more I understand my role. Like I was talking about before, that ego and removing the ego, but understanding your purpose. And, there's a lot of coaches don't, sometimes that self-awareness, they don't check enough. They don't self-reflect enough. And, I'm a big, fan of educating myself and growing as well on a consistent basis. And this past year, during the pandemic, I actually went through the coaching education license and the pro course, which is the highest level you can get. So having that structure again and having that education and kind of teaching yourself about the game, it's not just X's and O's. It's more managing. It's how do you manage people? How do you become a leader both on and off the field for your club, And so this past year has been a big growth for me, a lot of growth. And I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the process. It was hard, man. I felt like I was doing my master's. I was like, wow, what's going on here? It was difficult, but it was worth it, without a doubt.
Excellent.
John, Casey here again. So you're going to switch gears into sort of the balance in your life. You've got family. You're down in Greenville, South Carolina. Ian's in Scotland. Cindy's up this way. The family's all over the place. How do you kind of balance? Okay, I want to catch one of Ian's games with Dundee United. Catch in and see what's going on back in the DC area. I mean, and then coach a professional soccer team all at the same time.
It's a lot of juggling. It's getting into yoga helps. Finding that peace of mind. My wife Cindy and I talk often about this. I mean, there's always I just think we're competitive.
Yeah.
Cindy played in semifinals of like the FA Cup in England. She's her team in her 5th year at UVA. Went to the NCAA semifinals and stuff like that. So, I mean, like, we're all competitive and our kids all play. Our daughter, Lily, our youngest, just became the 5th one in our family to play in the NCAAs in Division I schools. So, in our family. So, it's pretty amazing, but I'm not saying that to brag about it. I'm saying it to say, like, we raised them to be good character kids, and to have good values, and have good faith. And, we know that when the soccer excels and they have great moments in the game, then that's a bonus.
Yeah.
So I think what we're doing is we've always had our kids go to each other's games, and Cindy and I were always kind of supporting each other as we're coaching at different age groups and levels. And then when I was coaching with the U20s and the Youth World Cup and stuff, and I just think that we're a tight-knit family and that support's always there. And so it is a hard balance. I'm working here in Greenville, South Carolina. My wife is home in Fairfax, Virginia, and she's teaching and coaching as well at Paul VI High School, and got to coach against Scott Waller this year, which was fantastic. And we love what we're doing, but there's that down in the deep core. We actually know that we're strong as a family. So wherever we may be, and we're trying to educate ourselves and grow ourselves in what we're doing. And I think that's the hard part. We always have to touch base all the time. That's the thing. We always have to touch base.
Well, I say that because, people know you and what an incredible, father you are and educator and person and coach. So appreciate you answering to that so well, and I know you guys are very proud of the entire Harkes family. So appreciate that.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure.
John, Steve here again. We have seen high school soccer get hit by the clubs. So some of these top level players in the high school level not playing with their high school teams, but spending their time playing with their club teams. Do you see this happening in college soccer by the pros?
I would hope not. I think that I'm a big proponent and supporter of high school soccer. I think just to put that out there first before I answer the college situation, because there's a sense of pride. There's also a different. There's so many different key qualities you can get from playing and representing your high school. And I think when the club side, I understand that all of a sudden, like there's this, I would say it's a little bit extreme, like this race to get players to play soccer every single day. I played soccer every single day, and the way that I grew up, and people ask me, how come you're so driven and so successful? I mean, there's three words that stuck with me as a young player, and it was win or stay on, meaning that we were playing on the street, pickup games, and we were playing down in the courts in Harrison, New Jersey when I was growing up. And then we were doing pickup games after school. We were doing it at lunchtime. We would go to school early in the mornings and play in the playground. So to me, it was just like every single day, that was my life. I loved it. It made me happy. I was able to express myself through the game. And I think if you don't allow players to play at the high school level and represent their school, there's a sense of pride that kind of goes out the window. And then you're not getting the same development, because coaches, that are in high school are also great teachers, and they look at the game from a different perspective. And I think that's valuable. So I hope that continues to be the case going into the college situation, which you just asked. And I would like to think that you could tell, and I'll just say this to you guys, there are times when I get a player that I'm scouting that is talented, that has ability. And then when I, speak to them, I reach out to them, I connect with them, I ask them different questions, I have conversations about them. I can certainly tell the ones that went to college and grew through college and had some adversity through college, and the other ones that just wanted to be pros right away and didn't go to school. So I think it's important for them to go to school and still have that development and play and represent. And I hope that the pros don't take too many players too early, because some of them, they can't develop the same way. But look, there's always going to be those outliers, that crush that theory, and that they're ready to play pro at 18, 19. I mean, we've seen it in basketball for so long. Guys go to school, they play 1 year of university, then they're in the NBA. They're getting drafted like crazy. We're seeing in the NFL. Is that the next trend in Major League Soccer and around the world? I'm not so sure. I'd like to think that, well, I guess maybe I'm just a dreamer, but I would like to hope that stays intact, because there are so many great college coaches. And I was just talking to Jay Vidovich from his win today at the University of Pitt. He coached my son Ian at Wake Forest and developed that program, so well. And I was just like, it's important in the process of development. It really is. I hope that doesn't get taken away.
Great.
John, my last question. Greatest player you've either seen and or played with, just one person.
Greatest player I've ever seen would be Pelé. I was a ball boy at the Cosmos. Giant Stadium is only about 20 minutes from my house in Kearney, New Jersey. And I was fortunate to be a ball boy there in the tunnel, and got to, really interact with Pelé and see what he was doing. It was amazing. And in '94 World Cup, when we were hosting here in the States, Pelé was in the tunnel and gave me a big hug. And it was the most rocket shot right up in my adrenaline levels in my heart, to just, kind of have that, support. He was a hero of mine. And modern day footballer, I think Messi. I think Messi is a complete player. I think he's a team player all the way through. I haven't seen a player that has that much technical and control on speed, but not just scoring goals, but also setting up teammates and being like a guy that can create for others. And so I think he's really a fantastic team player.
Great answer. John and Steve, my last question. What was your thoughts on what would have been this potential Super League?
I think, Steve, a lot of us, we look at, we know the game's, certainly what it means to us. We want to simplify that and keep it at a basic term and say, like, we love to play. But it's also business. You understand that. There needs to be financial support. We see that even with Major League Soccer, where, we came back from Europe, a lot of different players in 96 to establish the game in 96. And its first year, it was a lot of unknowns there. There was a lot of fear, to be honest with you. We didn't know if it would take off in this country. But then there was times in 2001 where the league looked like it might have folded. So you need the financials, but the Superliga, I think my first impression was like it's coming across very greedy. There was a controlling aspect to it, which I thought could be damaging to the game. And I think that now that it was kind of called out and exposed and hopefully gone, I think we can get back to normal, just enjoying our games and supporting our different leagues around the world and enjoying the players when they put the jersey on. I think it's fantastic. It's hard because the game has changed. You look to shape certain things, and heroic leaders look to stand out and influence the future of the game and things like that. And, I think there's times where when I was playing back in the day, when there was black and white TVs and there was no social media and platforms, and nobody can record a game and say, look, John scored goal of the year. Nobody saw that until the end of the season, maybe somewhere, and someone had this old little clip of it. And so now it's on YouTube everywhere. But it's like, you look at that part of it and you think, wow, the strengths of the game are the passion of the supporters and the commitment of the supporters to be there. If you don't have supporters, who are you playing for? So I think sometimes during that process with the Super League discussions was more about not ignoring the fan base and the supporters, just taking them for granted a little bit. And certainly as you grow and, you start to read more and you educate yourself on that situation, you start to learn more about it. And, I hope it doesn't, rear its ugly head again. I really don't. I don't want to see that.
Coach, we have something here on the podcast. We're wrapping up. This is it, called the Starting Five. This is where I ask our coaches here in the studio questions, and they have 30 seconds to answer each question. I'm only going to ask you one, and you'll get 30 seconds to answer this one question. If you go over the 30 seconds, our esteemed engineer, DJ Krissy, will sound the bell. So, Coach Harkes, here is your question. I want to know, if you were going to lace them up for a championship game as a player, what would your hype music be? What does Coach Harkes want to listen to get him ready?
Wow. What a great question, because I love all genres of music. I can go from the Black Pumas all the way to Led Zeppelin. It's,
there we go.
Man, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. I'm a big U2 fan. Wow, you're killing me here. What time do I got?
You sound like you're about to get dinged.
Passionate about music. I love music. If I wasn't doing soccer, I'd be a drummer in a rock band, without a doubt.
Coach Harkes, you're the first one to ever get dinged. Oh my goodness! But we want to hear your song.
When the levee breaks by Led Zeppelin.
Oh, that's a good one. All right, he made up for it.
All right. Before we let you go, Coach Harkes, how can our listeners and viewers connect with you and the Triumph over social media?
What you can do is you can hit up both on Instagram, on Twitter, Greenville Triumph Soccer Club. We're there. We have a great social media presence, and certainly if you get a chance to even come down here, I would love to host you guys coming down here too and have you at the game. And
heck yeah,
look, I drive home quite a bit. It's 8-hour drive, 7.5 sometimes. I'm a road warrior. I don't mind it. But if you guys get a chance to come down here, I would love to do it. And if there's, supporters of the game out there, would love to get touch base with the Greenville Triumph. We are on both Twitter, everywhere. I think we're even on Facebook, which I don't do at all, but I know that, I think our club is on that. So yeah, reach out, look for us, and, support us if you can, because even the new kits, guys, I might have to send you guys some new jerseys that I got. They're pretty fantastic. Well, yeah, brand new ones.
Love it. Well, my boy was at Furman University, and they dropped men's baseball and men's lacrosse. So he's down the road at Clemson. So I go into Greenville a little bit more often. Done deal. We're coming to the game. Really? Yeah, and we're going out to dinner. Done and done.
Absolutely. I would love to do that. I'll take care of the wine. Let's get it done.
All right. I'll get the steaks.
John, Steve here. Steve here, John, is a former soccer player myself. I just want to say thank you to you for all that I've watched you over the years give to this game, whether it be you as a player, having you on I Street as a dad, supporting your son, and now you in coaching. Continue to do it. The sport needs you, and we appreciate all that you've done.
Yep.
Well, thank you, man. I'm grateful that I have an opportunity to play this game and coach in this game. It's a blessing every single day, to be honest with you. So thank you. But you guys, we're all doing our part, every one of us. And if we continue to do that and stress the core values with each of these young children that we can help raise and make it better our generations, and that's our job on earth.
No doubt.
Ladies and gentlemen, from UVA to DC United, the U.S. national team to the English Premier League, taking a TO with us today, Hall of Famer, Coach John Harkes. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. Man. Appreciate having you.
Have a great night.
Wow. Hey, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for letting me on finally.
See you, man.
So I have a question here, gentlemen. Did we just get invited to take the show on the road?
Yes, we did.
Did we actually get invited? So we had a couple of firsts here. We have a bona fide Hall of Famer in his sport, right? And we're going to talk about this after the commercial break. We also have the first person to get dinged, our guest, Krissy, the mean one behind the ding.
Like, no.
Right, I saw you, right? But we got invited to take the show on the road.
Let's go.
All right, I'm not buying the snacks.
Let me tell you something.
I'm not buying the
snacks. Buy the snacks. Let's get on the road.
I've flown into Greenville. We've driven to Greenville. In Clemson's not far. Greenville is a cool town. It is beautiful. It's a
we
very
can go
cool
live.
town.
They can put us in the press box and we can broadcast live. We can do that.
It is an up and coming spot. He's in a great area. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
DJ Krissy, let's have a word from our sponsors.
Building your brand is an important part of your business growth. By advertising with Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill, you'll gain the exposure and brand recognition behind our podcast. In Season 1, we reached a total of more than 100,000 listeners, viewers, subscribers, and website visitors combined. Your company will benefit from our popularity online and during the podcast. Advertising with Turner and O'Neill equals exposure on Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, and more than 15 listening platforms total. Inquire today and let's partner to build your brand.
Body and Beyond Wellness is acupuncture and wellness consulting. Our peaceful oasis is nestled just outside the Washington, D.C. Beltway. Our acupuncture treatments, workshops, and other wellness offerings will have you feeling restored, renewed, and revived. A limited appointment schedule is now available, but you must call in advance to schedule. Call 301-758-7980 or visit www.thebodyandbeyond.com for more info.
Let's get social. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter.
Connect with us on Instagram and Facebook at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, and on YouTube. Search Turner and O'Neill and then click subscribe.
This segment of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by the Tamara Cusick Team. Ready, set, sold. Real estate is more than just houses. It's about people too. The Tamara Cusick Team offers an all-inclusive approach, making the home buying and selling process efficient, financially smart, and stress-free for you. From home prep-up to complimentary staging, expert counsel to an experienced and qualified team of professionals, let's chat houses. The Tamara Cusick Team isn't just a partner, they sold us the home where Take a TO broadcasts from each week. Visit www.tamaraforhomes, that's the number 4.com, or call 301-780-4663.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill.
Somebody might have wet their britches. We are back with Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Thanks for listening and watch as we enjoy meeting you here each week. So this is where I get that from. There's some game in Texas where a team is winning by like 4 touchdowns. This other team comes back. They come back and score. You remember that?
No, go
Did
ahead.
You see that one?
Finish.
The announcer, and they come back, and then some kid, they make a last-second touchdown to win the game, and on the kickoff, the kid runs all the way back and beats this team that posted this huge comeback. He said, I'm just sick for these kids, blah, blah. He said, I'm about to wet my britches. That's what he said on the air. Anyway, we love seeing you guys and hearing from you guys and meeting you here each week. Look, John Harkes, an incredible resume as a player and coach. We keep coming back to our guests and the success they've had. How does Coach Harkes' experience parallel what we've heard before? I know he parallels something you said, core values. As soon as he said that, I'm like, that's what Casey really walks around with as your mantra with other coaches. What do they believe in? How do they instill their DNA into the core of that team?
Exactly. Look, the core principles, I believe, are what that coach represents, what he wants his team to represent. It doesn't mean the X's and O's are going to change, because you kind of build around the talent and what best suits the individuals that you have to collectively build a championship team or what you think is successful. But John, when he said that, and your question, it did. But your question was great in the fact that where did he learn the most? Was it playing? Was it coaching? Is it scouting? Managing, whatever it is. And kudos to you, because it caught him off guard for a second. He said, wow, that's a great question. But for us as coaches, and we've all coached in this room, well,
Krissy may as well have. She sat behind the...
She coaches us every single time we record.
She tries to play referee.
Last one. Hurry up. Let's go. But look, we've all coached, and I would agree with him 100% that I've learned so much more as a person, personally who I am, and about kids and about how to treat people by coaching. And I think that he kind of alluded that way. Look, great guest, awesome, fun, and we're going to Greenville. The favorite thing
that he said that I took is he talked about the culture, building the culture, and then protecting that culture.
Yes.
That was important to him. I loved hearing that part. I wrote that down. And he says you got to connect with the players. You got to connect with the players. It's the same thing I tell Paul about teaching. You have to connect with those students. They don't care what's in that textbook, and so they know you care about them, and you connect with them on some level.
It's funny. I had a conversation today with a college coach who's an assistant at a school, and he's coaching one of my former players, and that was our discussion today was the connection piece.
Okay.
Like sometimes we talk about, people talk about coaches changing their coaching style.
Okay.
Like old school, the yellers, the screamers, and now it's a little more compassionate. I think coaches can coach what they feel is best for them, but I do believe you must find a way to connect with each individual player in your team. And because every kid does not do well with the screamer yeller.
Yeah.
And then there's guys who need that.
And so there's no one way for all 15
there's no one way,
kids.
There's not. I think you have to find a way in today's game, in today's world, how to connect with each individual in their place. Not just in your own place.
Yeah.
Certainly you got to still be who you are and have these core values and have these core principles, but you do need to be able to know how to connect with each player. And the thing that I enjoyed probably most from John's conversation with us tonight, just his passion still for the game, his love for it, his family's love for it.
Right.
That was special to me, and being a guy who played the sport during the same time as him, and watching him be a face of our nation, our national team. Just great to have a conversation with him tonight.
So when you mentioned that about the clubs with the high schools and then with the colleges and the pros picking them out a little bit early, I love the way, because the way I took that, his answer was, they'll see kids that look great in tryouts or kids that they're scouting and they're unbelievable talents, but they've never been part of that team atmosphere.
Right.
Now, I'm not to knock on clubs that they don't have a team season and they work, but there's something about playing for that high school coach or that college coach, and the atmosphere, the locker room, the coaching, that one-on-one conversations on the bus rides or wherever it is, and they learn how to be better teammates and better individuals on a team, is what I'm saying.
I never thought about that. When you play
That's the
club,
way I took it.
When you play club, there's not the locker room. The
most
traditional
clubs,
locker room.
Yeah,
right.
Meet
Because
us at the field or meet us at the game.
Every parent is driving. Blah
you're
blah.
You're still getting coached up.
I never thought about that.
And you're still working on it. But to be a teammate,
but you're not in the classroom. You're not in the chalk
Yeah.
talk, and all that stuff doesn't happen in the traditional sense.
Right. And
you lose some of what that experience is at that
that's
institution.
important.
Right. It's not always just. The one thing that I hear from my players that they love the most about their building as a team is simple: the bus ride.
Right. Those bus rides,
those plane rides, those train rides,
the trips, and having an opportunity to bond. It's nothing to do with dribbling the basketball, shooting the basketball. It's how they bond with their classmates who become lifelong friends.
Right.
Probably in their wedding, kid gets named after them. Well, all those things, and hearing what John said about the club versus the school, a young man loses that piece to his experience as being a high school student.
But to just to piggyback off that, what I do think what is neat in the club game is that when they do get together in the high schools, it's neat that the kids are playing the sport they love in the summer, the fall, or the winter, whether it's AAU or club, with kids from other schools.
Oh, no, it's great.
And so that's my boy. Like, I really got to learn him. And that's what sport's all about, is you meet people when you get to be 50, 60 years old. Like, oh, we played club together, we played high school together. Oh, those rivalries were awesome. That's what sport is about, is those relationships.
Krissy, what do you remember years ago with that Langley team? On that bus, they were all singing the same songs, and the girls were all having fun on that bus ride. Those long-ass rides out 66, the girls would hang out, and I'm in the front of the bus trying to put anything I can in my ears because they're screaming and hooping and hollering, but that's the experience they have, right? I mean, you remember those times, right?
Oh, yeah, Unwritten, the entire.
Yes, they would sing that song every bus ride. That was their mantra. One thing I want to give you credit for, I haven't coached in years, maybe 10, 12 years ago. One of the lessons you gave me is you told me that kids are visual. And for me to connect to them, once you start recording those games and show them what they did right and why. I don't know why that popped into my head, but you were probably on the front end of that. And I'm like, wow, he's right. And once I have video, they can't deny that they double dribbled. Or they can't deny some of those habits. You gave me that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to say 182 triple doubles. The NBA all-time record has been set this evening by Mr. Russell Westbrook of the Washington Wizards, as they are in a fight of their lives in this game with 40 seconds left, down by 3. He set that record.
Russell Westbrook, you the man, you the man.
You know that song? That's the reason I'm a Bullets fan. Forget the Wizards. Yeah, that's the reason I'm a Bullets fan, but he did that. We are coming right back with our weekly sports wrap-up. DJ Krissy, let's do it. O'Neill Development is a custom builder in Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and the Eastern Shore. Recognized nationally as a premier builder, O'Neill Development has received awards for historic restoration and urban infill work. Committed to best practices in green building, O'Neill Development also provides support in budgeting, architect selection, and design development during the critical stages of planning. O'Neill Development, building, remodeling, and development since 1975. Find us at www.o'neilldev.com or call 301-840-9310.
Become a friend of the program. Friendship contributions start at just $25. Each contribution helps to fuel Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. To find out more or make your contribution, go to www.turnerando'neill.com and click Become a Friend. At Peace Players, we use the power of sport to unite, educate, and inspire young people to create a more peaceful world. We offer sport programming, peace education, and leadership development to those living in communities in conflict. We challenge the hate that is driven by the fear of our differences. We bridge divides between people through the game of basketball, and we develop young leaders who help to change perceptions. Find out more at www.peaceplayers.org.
This segment of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by Insurance Alliance Group. Manages the gap between damage appraisal estimates from your insurance company and what you are rightfully owed based on your policy. They work on behalf of policyholders with claim assistance and disputes to maximize claims. Insurance Alliance Group serves as professional advisors and trusted advocates. The Insurance Alliance Group handles business and home property loss. Request a free claim review with the property loss professionals. Insurance Alliance Group. Visit us at insurancealliancegroup.com or call 866-574-4773.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take It to You with Turner and O'Neill.
Welcome back to Take It to You with Turner and O'Neill. This week's episode is brought to you by Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Now, our weekly sports wrap-up. As much as we love seeing young bloods like Anthony Edwards, LaMelo, and others become the faces of the next generation of NBAers, how exciting is it to see players like Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, and Steph Curry still absolutely light it up as we move closer to the playoffs? Let's make sure we say a few things here. Westbrook tied the record for triple-doubles. Steph Curry, 49 points through 3 quarters the other night. And Chris Paul is 135 years old, and he is leading his team. And in my world, he absolutely should be MVP, and Monty Williams should be Coach of the Year as far as I'm concerned. But what are you guys thinking? I mean, the old faces are still producing.
And by the time this episode airs, clearly we think Westbrook's going to have that triple-double record.
He's going to have it in about 90 minutes.
It's going to happen.
Tonight.
It's happening.
You know what it shows is, and I go back to The Last Dance a lot, when you saw what Michael Jordan went through in his career, and I actually used that in before the game with our players. That whole analogy, how he didn't win that first championship, he didn't become the player he was until he trusted his teammates.
Right.
These guys have trusted their teammates. They've stood the test of time because of the work they put in, and they're just relentless competitors. It's amazing to see it, because there can be guys that have great careers, but to do it when you're this old and to do it at that level, it's unbelievable.
By the way, you say you like new faces, like in the NFL, you like to see new teams, and in college. And hold on, and I know you like these new faces, but I think you're enjoying watching these vets too, right?
I love the vets
because they make adjustments,
doing what they do.
Right.
I'm just speaking to championships.
Right.
It's
and
always
teams.
fun to see new teams win.
Right.
But I love when the vets are doing like these guys right here.
And I think Anthony Edwards is making his case for Rookie of the Year.
He definitely has. I think LaMelo would have won it had he not gotten hurt.
Definitely.
But I was definitely impressed with how he went at his brother the other night. That was fun.
Right.
That was like, and you'll remember these names. Casey won't remember these names, but Jeff Hawk, Pat Hawk.
Yes.
In their backyard going at it.
Jeff Hawk is a monster. I love that guy.
He's one of my favorite teammates of all times. But there were some days in his backyard, him and his older brother Pat.
You told me about this.
Oh man, balls getting thrown at each other, chasing brother down with a broom.
Right.
We had some brutal wars in some 2-on-2 matches over in that backyard. But to see Westbrook doing what he's doing, right. he has a bad rap.
I don't know why though. He doesn't get any mess. Right. He doesn't get into any mess.
No.
One time he went into the stands and got suspended for that. It was to tell a fan, you need to chill out because we have families here. Yeah. I've always loved that guy.
You know, and then CP3 is one of my all-time favorites. And to see him doing what he's doing in that leadership and, you know, having had the opportunity to
not getting injured so he can do it.
So he can do it. But then, you know, just seeing him as a young guy and coaching him at 5-star basketball camp, working his basketball camps as he allowed me to come be a part of his family and work his camps.
He ain't taller than me.
And the dude is just getting it done. And then Steph, the other night, why didn't they let him just go? I want to see what he would have done.
I know, but they won by like 25.
I don't care, man. You know what? So what? Those moments you can never get back. So let's see what he could have done.
And he's 33.
So it's good. 33. And then I have to say, the young bloods, they're coming. It's gonna be. The league is not gonna ever worry about faces of the league.
Getting new talent. No. I'm loving what I'm seeing in the NBA. Hey, we're winding down. I think this Saturday or next Saturday, that's it.
Yeah.
I think it's this Saturday. There's like 3 or 4 more games left. Tim Tebow, not Time Tebow, but Tim Tebow expected to sign with the Jags as a tight end.
You wrote time.
It's not on his side.
And time again. They're giving this Bama chances.
Like
minor league baseball.
The Mets don't even want him anymore.
And now he gets to come back and be a tight end. I mean,
but Cap can't get back in the league.
Right.
I'm just calling it like I see it.
But time and time again. Look, I'm not a Tebow hater.
Ocho Cinco, who got himself back into shape, couldn't get him back in the league. Couldn't get back in the league. I'm not
a Tebow hater. I think he was an incredible college
football
player.
I'm a Florida Gator fan. I liked him there.
You're a Gator fan. I think he is a good person. I think he's decent on the media stuff when he's on air. I don't think he's a good play-by-play guy or doing the commentary. But this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. What, Tim Tebow calling you right now?
Nah, this is J-Rock.
No, I'm teasing.
You can take it live on the air.
Come on, Jags. Jags can do better.
I know what this is about.
You got the number one pick.
This dude's making money right now. The
Jags have the number one pick. You got your Trevor Lawrence. You got Urban Meyer there. You got all the momentum. I mean,
so it's Florida Gators all over.
What are they trying to do? Just get more, butts in the seats?
I don't
I want to see Chase Young come around the corner and play against them.
I have no problem with him having this opportunity.
Okay.
Like, hey, given an opportunity for anybody, so be it. But this should not be headline news.
Right. And it is right now.
You're making headline news over this, and to me, it's not worth it.
They dropped the puck the other night, and 5 fights break out at the Caps game. Now, I will go on record as saying one of the things I don't like about hockey is the fights. People are like, well, I mean, that's part of the sport. Make it a part of the NBA, and everyone gets suspended. They would never allow that in the NBA.
It kind of felt like it in the 80s when you watched those.
Well, we love that.
All I know is I felt like I saw my man
Kevin, the bad boys,
Kevin Hatcher back out there for the Caps.
It's... Curtis,
what happened? I don't know the history behind it.
So what happened is Tom Wilson, who is a notorious agitator and somebody who's been fined and suspended many times.
He messed Cuz up by the goal the other
late hit.
Yes,
so somebody, one of the Rangers,
shot to the head.
Who was speaking of young bloods, the Rangers are a young team, and they slid into the goalie, and you always protect your goalie, and so he kind of jammed the guy down, and it was a little excessive.
He punched him.
Well, no, he had him on the ground, so they. They retaliated. Guy jumped on him. He slams that guy on the ground, and the next thing you know, it's just pure mayhem, and everyone's calling it the most.
Egregious.
Put it this way: Tom Wilson gets fined $5,000. The rest of the league wanted him suspended for the rest of the year.
Right.
For him,
I'd agree.
the guys, and look, Sidney Crosby did the same thing with the Philadelphia Flyer. The Rangers put out a statement saying it was the most egregious thing, and the NHL is stupid. Blah blah blah. They get fined $250,000
for
their words.
Did you see this?
Yeah, I saw it.
For their words, and their GM and team president get fired. I mean, what a mess! Yeah. What a mess! But the Caps have some other things going on. They got a few injuries.
Speaking of this kind of thing, did you see Luka yesterday with Colin Sexton?
Yeah, I watching the film now.
Okay, I did too.
It didn't look like he.
He went back on him like that after the play.
I don't think he went at the groin. It looked like to me he took a shot at his gut.
Well, why are you taking an intentional shot after the whistle's blown?
You
can't take a cheap shot at someone not expecting it.
The young fella jacked him up, but you see how Colin Sexton hit him,
right? I didn't see
to go box him out. He gave him a good shot.
Yeah, and so did Luka.
But Luka, you're too damn good to be getting all these texts.
Right, he's one tech away from being.
When they're sitting on the jump today, and the conversation is with Perk, who 16 texts, and then 01, they got my man Sheed on 40 texts.
Right.
If those guys are on the air talking about you, that's not a good thing.
Right.
That's not a good thing.
Not at all.
Luka, you're too good. You don't need to be getting technical fouls. Just play the game.
DeGrom pitches 6 innings and once again can't complete a game because of injury and is now on the IL. One thing the Mets got to do, they got to give him run support. Before yesterday, he's a .51 ERA, but he's 2-2. How do you have a half a run ERA and your team can't? Lindor finally came alive this weekend.
Money, boy.
Spend some money on what? We spent some money. Lindor finally woke up this past weekend.
A lot of things need to come into play for those starting pitchers. I mean,
he's giving up a half a run.
Sure, half a run, but then bullpen
you can manufacture a damn run to help him out.
Just bun him over, man. Small ball. Get him over there. Christmas. He is, when healthy, he's the best guy.
But he's got to stay healthy.
Your teams are going through some things right
but
now.
But the Mets are in first.
But they're in first place.
They are, but your teams are going through some things right now.
In May.
They're in first place at like 15-12. That's first place in the NL East because no one is doing well there. The Lakers, AD is now showing up just about every night. AD has been doing well, but what's with the Jekyll and Hyde thing? Absolutely, the Lakers have handled Brooklyn, Phoenix, Denver, and Utah, but we're struggling against other teams. We can't seem to scratch against some of the lesser teams. I mean, are we just waiting for LeBron to come back? What's going to snap for them? Because if they get a play-in spot, we're not talking about a 7-game series now. These guys got to get it together. What are your thoughts?
I feel like I talk about
love
the
to
Lakers
see how
every
AD's
week.
playing.
Right, he's killing it
He's killing it right now. I like that little some old school high-low actions, him catching some backdoor lobs.
Right. And we did it without Kuzma, too.
I think LeBron's going to get healthy, and they're going to be who they're going to be. Honestly, they talk all this the GOAT shit. Let them get in the playing game. Let's see what LeBron can do to get them back to the finals.
Right.
Well,
I think it'd be fun to watch.
I said it before.
I think it'd be made NBA like it.
Wouldn't they ever?
You,
Made for TV money.
you win the NBA championship, albeit in the bubble last year, and then you kind of make a lot of different moves. Why, if it ain't broke, why fix it? And so I see. I mean, I'm not saying you can't control whether AD gets injured or LeBron gets injured, but I don't know. This is kind of karma to me. Why'd they mess up the team? They won it last year.
You like the Wizards. They don't even have a spot, do they?
Well, I feel like we talk about the Lakers and the Mets. Doesn't it feel like every week?
Because they make news. All right, who do you want to talk about in the NBA? Who do you want me to talk about in the NBA?
I want to talk about.
Don't, you know what? Don't give me no iPad.
Little brother calling you out.
Little brother should start writing episodes then.
Oh.
Okay, you want to write? You want to write? Because
golf,
clearly,
lacrosse.
Because clearly you're not playing lacrosse right now because
Golf.
y'all can't get it together in the WCAC.
Whoa.
Okay, so you.
Whoa. That was a shot fired. Hey. Hey. My guys are clean. My guys are clean.
Are they as clean as Baffert? As clean as Baffert?
No, my guys are.
Oh God.
Thanks. These kids that are like
Conversation went.
just want to play lacrosse. Unbelievable.
And I hope they do because you guys deserve to play.
Well,
lacrosse.
apparently you don't.
All right, in less than 10 days, the NHL season.
I'm going to practice tomorrow. Hey, kids, I got good news and bad news. Good news is Kurtis doesn't think we're going to play anymore. Come on, man.
In less than 10 days, the NHL season is over. Coach O'Neill is interested in how teams will match up outside of their divisional pods. Coach O'Neill, take it away, sir.
So
we're coming down to it, right?
We are coming right down to it. And obviously us here on the East Coast are following that Metropolitan Division. So it's Boston, it's the Islanders, it's the Penguins.
Sabres, maybe?
No, and the Caps. I don't think the Sabres are in there. Down in the South, you've got the Tampa Bay Lightning. Out West, you got the Vegas Golden Knights. And I couldn't even tell you. I think Toronto up in Canada. It is going to be interesting, but those teams have to get out of their pot.
Oh,
so
right.
Washington, who will probably end up playing Boston, has already played them 8 or 9 times.
Right.
And they're playing in another night, and then they're going to play each other for a 7-game series.
Oh,
and then you're going to have Pittsburgh and the Islanders beat each other up. And then just to get out of that format in all those
Can you
areas.
get out of that healthy?
And you got to get out of there healthy.
You said it.
And then you got to go beat a team like Tampa or somebody like that you haven't seen. That's
You
in the
got
Central.
film, but you haven't played them.
But it's crazy. So playoffs are. I mean, look, we got NBA wrapping up. We got NHL going. It is a great time of year when those playoffs start.
Right.
And speaking of teams outside their bubble, I did print out the
Let's go.
Division I men's lacrosse.
And
I know Cole and club teams and Division III, Division II are going, but folks, we're going to do our brackets a little bit later and come up with them. But we got the top 16 teams going at it starting this weekend. Steve, Saturday starting at noon all the way until 9 p.m. You have 4 games on ESPNU. Sunday starting at noon, you have 4 games all the way up till 9 p.m. Action-packed ESPNU lacrosse.
Saturday I will be.
And our guest
Saturday I will
next
be
week.
doubling down.
Our boy Joe Robertson's going against High Point.
Saturday I will be doubling down because J-Rock's in the gym. But Sunday,
watch it.
It's on the couch.
Watch it.
I will definitely be watching Saturday as well.
Sunday,
but
you're
I'll
going to have a little bit of
down.
You're going to have a little bit of UVA and Bryant. Sunday, you're going to see the Terps, the hometown team, take on Vermont. You're going to have Denver and Loyola, which a lot of people are like, how'd Loyola get in there? And Sunday as well, you've got the Blue Devils, our boy Joe Robertson, and the High Point Panthers. My boy Henry Mudlaff, Cole's best friend and former Furman Paladine, transferred after they shut the program
So he's
down.
at High Point.
He's starting as a D-midi at High Point.
That's my boy.
And then Saturday, you got North Carolina Monmouth. You got my boys Lehigh Mountain Hawks going against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
That's going to be a great game.
My bracket is done.
All right, well, let's hear it. Who do you got winning? Who's your Final Four?
The Final Four will be UNC, Syracuse, UMD, and Duke. I've got Syracuse beating Georgetown. I've got Syracuse beating UVA. I've got Lehigh advancing 1 game, losing then to UNC. UNC goes into that bracket on that next to last line. I've got Maryland beating Drexel, Maryland beating Duke, Duke beating Denver because I got Denver beating Loyola, UMD, Duke, UMD wins that game, UMD, UNC, UMD wins that game
Wow.
as your national champion.
You got the Terps.
I got the Terps winning it.
All right.
Because
we'll have to do ours in a break and announce it at the end. Let's go, Maryland. That would be incredible, by the way.
Let's
go.
I used to be a season ticket holder for the women's basketball. I know that tune very well. DJ Krissy, let's hear from our advertisers. We invite your questions, comments, and show ideas. Simply go to www.turnerandoneal.com and click Submit Your Idea.
Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill would like to thank our partners, sponsors, and donors. Our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development, LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, Peace Players International. Our donors, Winsight Media, Gene the Barber, Body and Beyond Wellness.
The final word is brought to you by...
This segment of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by
Ray P. Cruz, Mortgages Intelligently.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill.
We are back, and now it's time for our final words, some thanks, and of course our weekly quote, this week offered by me. We invite you to become a friend of the program. To do so, go to www.turnerandoneal.com and click Become a Friend. We are now seeking advertisers for Season 3. In Season 1, we delivered more than 100,000 viewers and listeners to our advertisers. Gentlemen, we did have an episode this season that got more than 10,000 views. Now is the time to be an advertiser. Secure your placement in front of our audience each week. Become a partner, sponsor, or donor today for as little as $25 per episode. Advertising opportunities include on-air commercials, social media inclusion, YouTube exposure, and more. Our advertising spots will sell out, so secure your placement for Season 3 now with no payment due until July. We make it easy for you. Connect with us socially on Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast and on Twitter at Turn On Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and via all podcast platforms to get the episode drop alerts. That means each episode we release, you'll get a ding to your device and you'll be among the first to know when new episodes are available. We encourage you to join the conversation, so write to us with your questions and comments at turnero'neillpodcast@gmail.com. Before we sign off, many thanks to our listeners and viewers. We want you to spread the word, so do us a favor and hit that subscribe button, tell a friend, and we ask that you help us to grow our community. Thanks to Coach John Harkes for joining us today. I must also thank our engineer, DJ Krissy, you two gentlemen, Coach Turner and Coach O'Neill, and of course, Paula. Thanks to our donors, sponsors, and partners. We encourage our audience to support those who support us. DJ Krissy, any final thoughts?
Happy to have everybody back in the studio.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of fun having everybody on video.
Okay.
Second time, but, you know, it's nice having everybody here.
All right. Coach O'Neill.
Great episode. It's great to connect with John Harkes. Great to talk a little bit of football. And I got my picks in. I did my picks.
All right.
One of the breaks.
Talk Final Four, brother.
Final Four. I've got UNC. Shout out to PJ Zinsner, one of my favorite captains.
All right.
Georgetown Hoyas.
Okay, now.
Maryland Terrapins.
Yeah, I know you're going to pick Duke on that bottom line.
I got Joe Robertson and the Duke Blue Devils.
Yes,
I got Duke advancing to the championship game. UNC for this is
for like the fifth time?
Third time. I got the Tar Heels, baby. I got the Tar Heels winning it all. Great episode.
Can my man Joe Robertson be Mr. Clutch one more time?
He might be.
One more again?
He might be. Oh, right. Man. So, and my Lehigh Mountain Hawks are in the dance against Rutgers, who hasn't been since, 18, 20 years. I think I got Rutgers beating Lehigh, but
really, all right.
Kind of
We'll see. All right, what you got, Coach Turner? Wrap up this thing for us.
Nah, just excited again to be back in the studio for the good old Mental Health Monday.
Yes, sir.
And a lot going on, sports. So it's gonna be some fun next couple weeks.
Some playoffs.
Watching playoffs start going on. You got NCAA playoffs. We got soccer playoffs already going in the NCAAs right now. Mm-hmm. So a lot of sports to be able to talk about. Excited to finally get Mr. Harkes on.
Right.
Bring a little soccer to to the podcast.
Yep.
Right.
And
we're covering it all, sir.
He was a great guest, and looking forward to what Take a TO is going to bring next.
I'm not letting the cat out of the bag, but you guys keep listening. Look, this is my quote. Glad to be a part of what we do here every week. Casey, love having you here. You're the little brother. You give me some hard times, but you know what I enjoy most about you coming in here is what's happening with your family. The young man Cole, the girls, soccer practice, this, that, and the other. Your love for Erica, all of that is awesome. I enjoy hearing about Jared. I'm glad you got to Miami. And I keep remembering week by week stuff you taught me that helped me as a coach. When we have Krissy here, Krissy keeps us, you guys look, when John Harkes is on, you're going to see some videos and some promos on the screen. Krissy's running, getting a cable. She's doing this. She's keeping us in check. She's like the ringmaster here, trying to keep us all together and making us look and sound good. You guys don't know. I'm going to let this cat out of the bag. We recorded this episode in so many different segments. For her to be able to edit and put this together is like magic mastering. That's what she does. So thank you, DJ Krissy. The quote this week is mine. There are 3 things you can do with your life. You can waste it, you can spend it, or you can invest it. The best use of your life is to invest it in something that will last longer than your time on earth. Mr. Rick Warren. DJ Krissy, pull the plug.
Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill would like to thank our advertisers. Our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development, LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, and Peace Players International. Our donors, Winsight Media, Gene the Barber, Body and Beyond Wellness, and Justin O'Neill. Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by DJ Krissy. All material is the exclusive property of the podcast and may not be copied, rebroadcast, or used in any way without the written consent of the podcast. The views, ideas, and commentary of podcast guests are solely their own and not necessarily endorsed by the podcast. You may submit questions, podcast ideas, and commentary to turnero'neillpodcast@gmail.com. No compensation is offered for submitted material. Should we choose to use your idea, comment, or question, you agree to your likeness, social media identity, and/or information being used on the podcast. Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is recorded weekly and distributed via Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more than 15 podcast platforms in total. You can also view Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill weekly on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest episode drops. Some portions of the podcast may be pre-recorded. Join us socially on Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, and on YouTube. Search Turner and O'Neill and subscribe. Our website is www.turnerando'neill.com. Advertising opportunities are available.